Right, well the challenge with this job now is to work out where we start and what's going to be the most efficient way of assembling the chassis, and I'm sure everybody's got a view on that. And things we've got to take into consideration is obviously having enough room to work, and that involves also getting components on so that we're not walking around them in the shed. But also we've got to consider things like the counterbalance effect. We're going to have to start moving axle stands about at some point. So the safest place for this chassis to be is on its axles, on a pair of axle stands. I've put the front and rear cross members in loose just for effect, but we're going to pull that cross member in a minute. And the first cross member we're going to put in is this one that goes here between the second axle front spring hangers. And then we can start the assembly process really, and the assimilation of how we're going to do it all. Right, so the first job though is now to go out and start retrieving parts that we've got scattered around the garden and in an old pickup I've got on the front. So the spring hangers are in the pickup and the cross member is in the garden somewhere, so we'll get that sorted out. This paint finish on here was ultimately just to stop the chassis rusting too much, and it's sacrificial. That's why I'm not worried about it scratching, and when we assemble I shall paint her again and it'll be lovely. It's got a lovely shine on it, but it's not the finish we're going for. Now the other problem we've got is that we had heavy corrosion on the flitch area. So we've got this breaking up of the paint surface here. I knew we'd get this. It was just a case of covering it for that period we had it stored, and it's not bad. So what we're going to do next is flat this back to steel, and we'll give it some paint and get us in a position that we can fit the spring hanger which goes here. Right, so we've cleaned the back now, we've got all that loose rust off. The reason this has suffered as much as it has is because the flitch plate bolted on here for the fifth wheel. So obviously we've got the same problem on the other side, and we've done the the rinse and the repeat and copy and paste or whatever crap people come out with, but basically we've done the same thing on the other side. So first job, I'm going to degrease it. I'm going to degrease both sides, ready for the next part. I've given this top rail a bit of a do on this side because it's actually in slightly worse condition than that side. I don't know why that would be. It happened just way apart back in the day. So this side's flashed off okay now. It's thereabouts, it's nice and dry. The other side's still on its way. It's quite a damp day here. Middle of winter, what do you expect? So we've had the space heater on to dry out the shed. We're up to about 18 degrees, so that should be fine. I've got some paint here that my mate Clive gave me. I've thinned it. It's quite thin, and the reason for that is you've got all them dimples in the steel, and I want it to go into all of those dimples and fill everything up as much as it can, but also I want it to dry quickly. And to do that, it's got to be thin. I've sanded these edges. They've had a bit of 320s just to give them a gentle key there. We will paint them again, obviously, at some point, but I don't want an abrupt edge. Brilliant. That looks to be the first coat done both sides. And that's already dried off because it's nice and thin. The thinners have taken that key on that paint there, so they're biting into that, so I think the integrity of that's going to be pretty good. So we'll get on with the second coat. Right, well that's grand. I reckon we've put about 4 coats on there, on both sides. I'm going to leave it overnight now to harden off, and then I can obviously paint it red tomorrow or in the next few days. So the next job is to get on with cutting the flitch plates. We've got the steel outside, it sort of goes there to round about here somewhere, roughly. Once we've got the flitch plates on, we can then put the spring hangers on. Pleased with that, it's turned out well that. Well, Happy New Year everybody. It's 1st of January 2025. This primer's had a couple of days to cure off, and it's lovely. It really is nice. It's gone on well. I want to put a couple of coats of colour on it now, just to protect it, because we've got the flitch plates to make to go on here. That'll be the next thing we come on to. So it is a little bit cool. Just check for you. It's about 8 degrees C. So it is cool. So I've mixed up the 2-pack Radiant Red. I'm just going to brush paint it on, because this surface you will not see. It'll have a flitch plate over it, and what I really want to do is, you know, prevent rust, protect it and prevent rust, because I don't want to come back in another 50 years and have to pull that flitch off because I didn't rust protect it properly. Right, I'll get it degreased and then we'll get on with the paint. Right, so this is the remains of the chassis that we used for the extension piece in the frame. We called it the Tyson Burridge chassis because of the colour on it and the colour it had been painted in, and we speculated that it could have been a Tyson Burridge lorry, or certainly that was the story that lad who sold it me said. The flitch plates that were on that, the outer flitches that mount the 5th wheel, were well rotted, so what we're going to do is cut 2 out of this length. I am going to make them slightly longer than the originals, only by a couple of inches, and that's to pick up a couple of bolts in the inner flitch where we put the extension in, and that obviously gives us another bite point, if you will. So the next job here now is just get the angle grinder into it and get it cut out. Good, let's go on with it. That's nice, we'll just soft pad that round. Nice. It's pretty good, that'll do. That'll do. Right, well, as we can see here, we've made the flitch out of the chassis. It's obviously got to be fettled up yet. Got to weld a lot of holes up on it. So we'll weld all these holes up and grind it back. But that one has got a weld seam down it that we need to clean up to begin with. So I need to do it outside because it's just going to be that dirty. So we'll start with that one and come to this one in a bit. Get it out of the way. Here we go. Right down my neck. Not sure if you can see, but we've got a load of weld there to clean up. Patch that big hole up and then weld these small ones up. It's obviously been joined there at some point. Right, well, slight cock up here. I didn't press record on the camera. I've done the first 3 holes. Basically, sticking lump of copper behind the hole, going round it, filling it up, and then welding over. That's what we've done there. Better really with weld than a broken bolt welded in. I am going to make a plate to go in there, but these ones we're just going to weld up and grind back, linish them up. And that should be great. I'll top them up from the other side, so I'll crack on. Like I say, just using a bit of old copper heating pipe, and I've just rolled it up and made it into a block. The advantage being it doesn't stick. The weld doesn't stick. Now we're going to weld the top side. Where have you been then? I've been busy doing some motorbikes up there, mate. You've got to pay for it somehow, you know. Alright, well, yeah, I suppose fair play. Somebody's got to pay for it, haven't they? Have you any idea where we're up to with filming? Because I've got no idea where we're up to with filming. No, I've no idea where we're up to with filming. What are you doing now then? I'm going to put that cross member in. It's got to go in here. Spring hangers either side. We've got these flitch plates made. So, yeah, I'm going to crack on with that today. Alright, well, crack on. I'm going to crack on with motorbike. See you in a bit. Are you not staying? Give me out and put this cross member in. No, mate, I think you'll be alright on your own. I need to go and get that done. Alright, fair enough. Charming. We'd best crack on then. So that's giving it a really good substrate now. It's tied everything together. It's been done a few weeks. It's nice and hard. That should be grand. We made the flitch plates that go on the outside, mount the 5th wheel. I've painted the side that goes up to the chassis. I've got the other one clamped on nice and loose. I'm going to clamp this one on and then we're going to attack it with the rotor broach and the mag drill. Super. I've made it slightly longer because I wanted to catch the inside of the extension flitch piece I put in. So we just catch that about here. Just get my hand in. About here. So we're just tying into that nicely. The big job is to put the spring hanger in, which is about here. So we've got the broach, we've got the mag drill set up, or we're going to get it set up. So we'll bash some holes through. I'm going to put the other side flitch plate on first, and then we can go for it. Right, first part of the job is to get a bit of support underneath the middle so that you can sit it down and then adjust it too. Now I've done that, I'm going to move this bucket. I've got a line on chassis here that I've put in to measure up to straighten up to the other side. That's got that in place, I just need to level it all up. Right, we're all set up now with the mag drill. Card was full, so I'm not sure how much we've lost really, so I've been and emptied the card for the camera. Rotor roach is fitted, 19mm. We're drilling some 3/4 holes. I haven't got a 3/4. 19mm is 748 thou, which is 2 thou shy of 3/4, so we should be alright. So let's crack on with it. We seem to have wasted a lot of time just. Right, so these are 3 holes we're going for here. We're only drilling this outer flitch. We're using this inner original chassis as our template, I suppose. I've moved this block because from the back of the machine to here is about 8 inches, so I need these blocks out of the way, so when I'm doing the hole here I've got enough room to get the machine in, which obviously I have. That's the magnet switched on. That's handy, isn't it? Right, we're pretty central hole. Everything's pretty good. I'm going to draw it out. We need the oil can. Right, quick final check. Give it a spot of oil. Everything should be pretty good here. That's the first hole drill. Keen to see what they're like for getting a bolt in. That's not bad, is it? Lovely. Super, they've gone through really nice. Right, with some messing about now because I need to take these blocks out either side and the clamps out to slide the cross member in. Obviously the problem you've then got is you don't want the flitch to drop. You don't really want to mess about lifting it all up and down again, but you can't get it in place if it's bolted in already. So we're just going to drop some bolts in loose like that to support the flitch so it doesn't drop. Take the back bits out, take the blocks out, take the clamps off, slide it in, and then obviously refit the blocks at the back to support the flitch, take the bolts out and slide it into place. Should be dead easy that, shouldn't it? There we go. Let's get these clamps back in at the back now. Right, I've got both of my hangers here on this side, because when Foden built these trucks, a lot of the stuff was hand drilled, or drilled in a jig, and there's obviously room for error. And if you read Harold Nancollis's book about his time at the factory, he sort of confirms all that. So what I thought I'd do is basically hold each of them up. See, that one's quite a bit out, and just see which one. Well, it's definitely that one. Which one seemed to be closest to matching them holes, and it's obviously this one. I've given this another spray with some rust preventative paint. It will get all painted again, so, and it's got a coat of primer on it, so I don't think we're going to worry too much. Now, talking to my mate over in Lincolnshire, he said all of the bolts should go from out in. Looking at the actual photographs of this vehicle, the top two actually came out this way and this bottom one was in, but personally I think they look better all going the same way. So on this occasion I'm going to agree with him, and they're all going that way. I'll be honest with you, I think I've just put a 2-inch in there, not a 2.5. Right, well that's been a right struggle. Where I slipped up was I tried to bolt both sides in and squeeze it all up. That does not work. I've been in a right mess with it. So I've had to unbolt all of this side, bolt that side up solid, so I've got 5 bolts in there, and that's all tightened up lovely. And then I put a sash clamp across the top to pull it across. I think I'm going to put another one at the bottom just to give me some, flex, manage the flex in the chassis, because the other problem is the chassis naturally wants to flex about and turn, which makes it difficult getting the bolts through. But I've got this in place now. This is all pulled in nice. I can pull me podge bar out, put it back in. I don't want to drop the hanger. So all I'm going to do is clean my bolts up, bang them through, tighten it up, and then I suppose we're really on to springs then, but that'll be for the next instalment, so I'll get on with that. Right, the thing about this YouTube log is it doesn't work unless you press the record button. So we've got these 3 tightened up now. All I've got to do is put the 2 in the bottom, and by tightening these 3 up, it's dragged the chassis together and obviously lined up these bottom holes, so I should be able to knock them through. They do need a tap to get them through, there's no 2 ways about that. And part of that's down to the amount of paint we've put on, and all the general shenanigans of what we've been doing. Nice. Right, that'll do us for now with that. Everything's tight. I need to get some spring washers, the 3/4 inch spring washers, and I'm struggling to get them, or star washers. I've got some on order but they've not arrived. I'll get some from somewhere, won't I? Even if they're 19mm. And they'll get Loctite as well when I do them. But everything's nice and tight, and I should be able to slip a nut off, put the washer on, bit of Loctite, and fasten it all up again. We've done all the hard work, and it has been hard work this afternoon, I must admit. The sash clamp worked really well for me. It's just giving it enough that when we do that back cross member, we're probably going to have to get a bottle jack in or a port power in and spread that to get it in, because it's going to be so tight. Next instalment will be back springs. I'm going to bring the back springs in, hook them on, put the axle in place as well. I'd like to get the axle on axle stands, these axle stands out, which gives me a bit more room to build in this area, and then we'll probably go to the front then and do the front spring hangers. But we're on our way. I'm really pleased to get this in, and we are sort of getting there. Right, that'll do us for this one. Thanks for watching. I've been doing some motorbike stuff, so I may do a video on a GS850 I'm doing. See how we go on. And if you want to buy a GS850, I'm your man. See you next time.